Hi everyone, it's Laura at Lyman Joy. I'm a wife, a medical coder, and a mom of 6, and I'm on a journey to become debt-free, breaking generational strongholds of debt so the next generation can live and give like they were meant to. So if it interests you, then stick around because today I'm going to tell you 3 things that you need to avoid while doing the cash envelope system so that you can be more successful in your journey and avoid some of the mistakes that I did. So let's get into it. Okay, everyone, I wanted to share with you a little bit of some things to avoid, and the reason is when I started my cash envelope method, I still didn't have enough money every month, and I felt like my budget was all over the place, and it really didn't work until I identified a few potential pitfalls to watch out for while using the cash envelope method. I'm going to go ahead and share those with you so that hopefully by the end of this video, you can go ahead and use the cash envelope method more effectively and efficiently without making the same mistakes that I did. All right, so let me go ahead and share with you number one. Number one, not adjusting for irregular expenses. Okay, the cash envelope method works really good for regular reoccurring expenses. These are things like groceries, gasoline, spending, kids, date night. You just set an amount and you fill your envelope with that and you stay within that budget, which is much more efficient with cash than maybe like a debit card where you can just swipe and you kind of have a harder time feeling what that $20 actually feels like. When you have cash and you're actually taking out that money and handing it over, yeah, it feels completely different. So it absolutely works really well for that kind of a thing. But it's really hard for irregular expenses. And this is what really threw me off at the beginning of my journey. I understood all of this, but I would have to spend money in these categories on other things that would pop up along the way. So these are gonna be things like car repairs, medical bills, home maintenance. These would always throw me off. For me, it was car registration. I live in California, so it's really expensive. But car maintenance is a big one too. Holidays, Christmas, birthdays, those ones are a big one. Maybe it's house maintenance for you. A leak in the roof or a washer breaking or something like that. It's a big deal, and having money set aside will make it so that it doesn't throw off your budgeting journey. Or maybe it's healthcare or braces that has thrown you off in the past and you need an envelope for, or back to school. I can't tell you how every year I'm always struggling to have enough money for the shoes and the backpack and the clothes, but now having the back to school fund, it makes the whole experience so much better, and it doesn't throw off the money that I have allotted for my regular cash envelopes or even in my money growing categories. So having that's good. Or maybe you don't have kids, but you have a pet. Okay, they're just notorious for doing crazy things. And I think it's really important to have a vet emergency fund so that you can go ahead and have the money for the big bill that pops up or something when they do something silly. But I think that really the good place to start is an emergency fund. Emergencies are going to happen, right? Things just happen in life, and it's going to be really important to have this so that you can focus on the emergency and not the finances. And once you have that $1,000 emergency fund, then you can go ahead and start all the other envelopes and start pouring into those so that you can start to really prepare yourself and kind of cushion your finances per se, so that you don't end up throwing it off and you can keep going forward. I mean, this is only the beginning, right? Cash envelopes really set you up to be out of debt and then start to grow your wealth, and then you can actually live more freely and give more freely. Number 2, not reevaluating your budget. Your budget is going to change over time. Your income and your expenses and your lifestyle will change. It's just the way it goes. And so it's really crucial to reevaluate, I'd say every few months, an overall budget, but every month you need to be doing a monthly check-in, if not a paycheck by paycheck check-in. So what I found that works best for me is a this Easy Cash Budget Extended Weekly Planner. It's just, I'm a paper kind of gal. I tried online things and it wasn't tangible enough to keep me on track. It was really user friendly. It just didn't keep me on track. So this one's a paycheck by paycheck breakdown. It helps me figure out how much money is coming in, what are my bills during that pay period, what's my money I'm putting in the cash envelope, what I'm putting into sinking funds, savings challenges, and debt. And it really keeps me focused and it helps me reevaluate as I'm going. For instance, if you're putting $20 in eating out, but every time you reevaluate, you're spending $30, you either need to change your habits or a lot more money into that category and take away from another category. Otherwise, you're going to be your own sabotage. So make sure you're really thinking about that. Figure out what works for you in your budgeting. I know there's great apps too, like the Every Dollar from Dave Ramsey is really good, and there's a bunch of other ones. There's even some online like Etsy and Excel sheets that you can get and do budgeting. Whatever works for you, go ahead and start that so you can go ahead and stay on track, because this is really what threw me off at first, was just not budgeting effectively for my income and not doing monthly check-ins to making sure I don't need any reevaluation of my categories. Okay, number 3 is having too much cash on hand. I know we're cash envelope budgeters and we're going to have cash on hand, but we need to do this strategically and using wisdom. So I want you to think about the wallet that you put in your purse that you take out, and if you lost that wallet, making sure you don't have too much in there that would be devastating to your financial situation. So I personally would never put more than about 100, 150 in my wallet. It does not make me comfortable having more than that. But at that price point, I'd be sad. I probably couldn't go out to eat that month, or I couldn't go on a date night that month, but it wouldn't be absolutely devastating. But even more so is maybe the money that you have at home. As cash budgeters, we want to make sure we're not leaving a significant amount of money at home, which makes it unsafe and really just unwise. If a fire or something happened, you'd lose all the time and effort you've put in. Plus, it's not smart either. There is different kinds of savings accounts that can build your money as it sits there. Having it just sit at home, not making money, is just not a good financial choice. So I'm going to give you a few different options to put your money in. One is Ally Bank. They're only online. There's no brick and mortar you can go into, but they are tried and true. They have a savings account for 3.75, and they even have a money market account for 4% interest. Or you could go with like a CD option, which has 4.3% interest that has no penalty after 6 days taking your money out. Another option is Lending Club. Yep, they now actually are a bank as well, and they have a 4.25 savings account interest with no fees. It's only $100 minimum to start, and they actually give you a debit card with no ATM fees. So if you really need access to your money, this is a really good option, but it is fairly new. And the last one I'm going to give you is Wealthfront. They have a 4.3 savings account, and they have no fees, no minimum, and they can actually have no fees for transfers. So if you want to transfer to your bank, that's really helpful, and you can even pay bills out of this one. So that's just a few options. There's lots of options out there, but it's just my suggestion that as you're building your wealth, you're also putting your money somewhere that can build your wealth, but also think about how you can pull out that money and not get penalized. So having wisdom with what kind of account you put it into. This is really going to set you up to keep you safe doing cash envelope and also building your wealth, because it's not just about cash stuffing. It's about paying off debt, cash stuffing, getting yourself straightened out in your finances, and then growing your wealth to the next level. All right, by avoiding these 3 common mistakes, you can use the cash envelope method to take control of your finances and reach your financial goal. But do remember, keep track of those envelopes, set realistic spending limits, and adjust your budget as needed. And that way you can be successful in the cash envelope method too. But if you need more instruction on how to begin, go ahead and watch this video here that explains budgeting breakdown and cash envelope setup. And as always, find joy in your journey, and I'll see you next time.